obviously you have to be a big baseball fan to be a Padres fan. Growing up,
Yeah, you do.
being a Saints fan growing up, never thought they would win the Super Bowl, but when they finally did, it paid off in the end. Being a Padres fan is a lot like that, being a Saints fan early on, because you really have to just enjoy going to the game to be a Padres fan, because more likely than not, you're going to walk out of that stadium a loser.
Disappointed, to say the least. And then me being an Angel fan, they've been doing horrible with two of the best players of all time on the team. And I'm also a Yankee fan too. I know it's kind of weird to be a fan of two, but the Yankees are horrific this year. So I feel your pain, but at least you got one of the coolest and nicest stadiums in San Diego, Padres. So that's the good thing. You might walk away disappointed or a loser, like you put it, but you're still having a good time.
Absolutely. I mean, occasionally we'll beat the Dodgers, which is kind of like winning the World Series for us. So there's always those moments too. Definitely almost got in fights out there just for supporting my team. But you know what? You still have to throw the flag up,
That's right.
It stands for something.
3 balls, 2 strikes, pressure is on. This is where we discuss real estate, property improvement, and business. Together we'll strategize on how to win. Welcome to the Full Count. Your thoughts on the last podcast where Nick and I were talking about Ohtani, the baseball player at the Angels.
I reviewed that last episode you guys did, and you guys kind of kept it in the house with the Los Angeles Angels, where Ohtani might end up. But, as we just spoke about before this, it seems like it's now more likely that he's going to end up somewhere else, especially with how the Angels kind of handled his injury recently, and how there was a lot of speculation about why did he clean out his locker. It just seemed like they handled that one situation very badly. And
you think the Angels handled it badly?
Well, I think the Angels handled it badly.
Did they clear out the locker, or was it him that cleared it out, though?
No, I think he did that, but I think they took too long to throw him on the injured list, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people now, writing about that. And so now it seems like not just 50-50 anymore, that he's going to end up somewhere else. But who knows? There's a lot of factors involved. But one of the things that we talked about is where else could he go? And it seems like there's 5 places. And the last podcast, you brought up something very, very interesting. And Nick was agreeing with you. You said Japanese.
Nick
right?
was agreeing with me?
Well, you kind of phrased it as
oh, no, you're calling me out. I can feel it. You're calling me out on something.
I'm not calling you out at all. No, what I'm saying is that you mentioned his culture, his Japanese culture, as kind of a place where he would like to go, right?
You mentioned where Ohtani would like to go?
Yeah, like that having a factor, his cultural.
Oh, yeah, like kind of, yeah.
Exactly. And Nick was in agreement, and he kind of, capitalized on that as well. And there's a lot of places where there's a large Japanese American fan base. And I feel like that's a very important thing that he could consider. And it seems like the Los Angeles Dodgers seem to be the number one place.
Los Angeles Angels?
Dodgers.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, if not the Angels, it seems like the Dodgers, they have the most financial resources. They have a winning culture, and they have a need for them too. But they also have a very large Japanese American fan base.
I see.
So it seems to be the one that maybe the number one suitor, although there's been like stories about Kershaw not really liking him back before he signed with the Angels, an incident in a meeting.
Right.
But as far as, real estate goes, that's not like a major change in housing, right? I mean, he might move to Ventura instead of,
I think you're right. San Diego, Orange County, LA County, Ventura County, if you remain on the coast in the luxury areas, it's kind of all pretty the same for the most part. Some topography is better than others, and some of the feel of the area, the culture, I guess to some extent is different too, but at the same time, like you said, it's basically the same. But I do believe that he does prefer probably to stay on the West Coast because of what you're saying. But But at the same time, I know there's speculation he might go to the Mets or some other team. But before we go there, I did want to take it back to how you mentioned that the Angels are kind of might be treating him incorrectly in a way. Like it's 50-50. I did want to ask you, because you probably know more than I do, which is why I wanted to bring you on too, because you're not more of a baseball fan, but you keep up to date with this more than I do. But can't you say that the way they handled it by not taking him out and putting him on the injury list sooner, maybe it was bad of them to do that, yes. But at the same time, what if he's a player that's saying, no, coach, I'm good. I want to keep going. Or did you feel like the Angels are trying to squeeze as much out of him before they trade him, essentially? Because like in business too, you might have a team member on your team as your manager, Chris, doing your thing. You might have someone working for you and they keep wanting to push themselves and you're constantly telling them, hey, take a break, but they keep pushing themselves. Like there needs to be a middle ground.
I think really what it is it's hard to tell if it's a bad relationship between the team and the player, or if it's a reluctance of the team to provide information to the media, and the media also the one writing the story about what has transpired.
Right.
Normally doesn't normally support organizations that hide information from them, right? And so a lot of this that we're reading about, where it's coming from, is that source. So I'm not really sure necessarily if, I think the problem is that people didn't really know. And from what I read, it was a kind of a blunder with how long it took him to throw on the injury list, with the locker clearing out. What they were suggesting is it created all that drama with him clearing out his locker when they could have just said 2 days ago, 3 days ago, he's actually injured. Right. So right. I think it's that coming after the fact. But at the same time, the Angels organization might have just been trying to prevent, the firestorm. But if you're not successful in that,
they fail miserably. Then if that's the case, then yeah, I can definitely see that. I always wonder too, though, like a lot of like in government too, or even management, like the Angels, a lot of negligence happens, and sometimes it's either these people don't know what they're doing or incompetence, right? I feel like everything tends to be, now that I'm, in the business world more and I get older, I feel like there's more and more people that are incompetent rather than having bad intentions, if that makes sense.
Occam's razor, right? I think that's a very healthy place to think, is always try to think of things instead of going cynical about it. Always try to come up with, what's a logical and competent reason why these things occurred the way they did. And right. A lot, if you're trying to cover up something, what is it? The cover up is normally worse than the crime.
Right, for sure.
It can backfire, and then it can just end up. Although this one's probably not. I mean, it's hard to know without talking to him, the player. But I think his actions will speak louder than any words. This free agency,
right?
And there's a couple other places that I think that he could end up. The Yankees.
I would hope that I would buy that jersey in a heartbeat.
They're a big market team with a winning culture, and they also need a superstar, and they also have a large Japanese American fan base.
I didn't know that.
So I know you are a Yankees fan. Are you familiar with New York regionally? Like, are you familiar with the neighborhoods? No? Okay. You just wanted to support the Death Star when you were growing up. You wanted to support the evil empire, right? Is that what it was?
Pretty much. I thought of Babe Ruth, being at the Red Sox and then going to the Yankees, a big Bambino. Baseball history is all the Yankees, in my opinion, for the most part. Same thing with the Brooklyn Dodgers in a way. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. The hub of America, at least in the modern world, is New York, or was at one point. Ever since COVID, people, can speculate it's another area. But I don't know. Something about the pinstripes and the Yankees is just really cool to me. And then watching Derek Jeter, growing up myself playing baseball, that guy was like my idol. So that's why I say I'm a Angel fan and a Yankee fan.
Well, I mean, you're not alone. There's a lot of people who are a Yankee fan and then a fan of another club. Being a Padres fan, we could never support the Yankees because, of course, they took us out of our only World Series. So
there you go.
We're not going there. But speaking of the Red Sox are another big market team with a winning culture. They also have a large Japanese American fan base, and they signed Japanese outfielder Masataka Yoshida in the offseason.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So
how good is he? Does he have a background in the major leagues, or did they bring him over from Japan recently?
Hold on. Let me check my stats.
You know what I like about Ohtani, though? Another player I liked, I didn't idolize him like I did Jeter, but Ichiro. I mean, what if he goes to the Seattle, the Mariners? Wouldn't it be kind of cool if Ohtani puts on that uniform that Ichiro at one point wore? I would imagine he looked up to him in a way too, because he was like one of the first Japanese baseball players that was so dominant and powerful with the attention and the skill set. I would think that would be a good spot for him to go in a way too.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say what cultural outfit he's going to wear, right? But I think, we're at a time and place where those various cultures are embraced more than ever, and especially in Major League Baseball. Whenever I was deployed around Japan area, it was just when Japanese baseball started to kind of become a thing, right? So we're talking 2007, 2008 era, right?
Really? I didn't know it was that. I thought it went back even further.
No, it probably could have, but at that point, for me as an American going over there, we didn't know about, like, the regular person didn't know about Japanese baseball, right? It was almost seen as kind of like
American,
like almost like a game show in a way, because of how that they would play the game. They were a lot more acrobatic in a way. But I remember going there and hearing about Japanese baseball and going to see a game, and I was like, wow, they're really doing it. When you think about baseball, it's such an American sport, right? Not anymore.
Right.
It's really been taken over globally. But growing up playing baseball, this isn't soccer, right? You didn't think this game traveled so far. And the athletic Japanese ability to hop up on that wall and just kind of make the game a little bit more interesting in a different way. And you see plays like that in the United States, but it seemed to be more of a theme over there.